How are we doing? We still have a half hour, right? Okay. And is there something we're running? I know. Okay. Yeah. We got to do crystals. Okay. Okay. And I'm going to have to take a 5-minute break to get something to drink because my tongue is sticking to the roof of my mouth. But what I'd really like to get done quick is to go through the 12 actions. This is the part of, if you can't remember anything that you learned while you were here, right, you can go to this sheet and have a basic thing to do. You have, there are 5 techniques that are used that you're being asked to do. If you want to, make these changes with yourself, this is what you do. Those techniques are in here. You can read them. And then there's a couple other things that you can do to facilitate this process that will help you and make you more comfortable during the process. Now, there's a lot more actions of mastery, but this is getting into what you can do right now to assist in getting your Nadahuva body together, to getting your D1, 2, 3 parts of self together, and getting them aligned with the Akasha. Now, that's getting aligned with the God source. All right, where you're literally clearing things. Becoming impeccable is what it's about. The 12 things are, you'd have daily use of the Maharik Quick Seal, once in the morning when you wake up, and once at night when you go to sleep. The Quick Seal is not the long version that takes has 26 steps. You can do it within a process of about a half a minute once you get fast at it, where you literally you visualize, depending on which one you're using. You can use the Akasha if you've been working with the Vekas for a while. You can use the Akasha instead of the regular Hierophant, instead of the 6-pointed star, and breathe it down, breathe it up real fast, push your shield out, breathe it up here, clear your astral field, breathe it up here, hook it up here, bring it back down for double reinforcement, and you're done. I mean, we do this all the time. And when we're tired, we'll run it for each other. We'll spark each other's. You're too tired to run it. I'm too tired to run it tonight. And I do it for Shanti all the time. We do it for Shanti to help her keep safe and sound, because it's our responsibility because we're mom. Okay. All right. So Maharik Seal, that's not a death sentence. It doesn't mean you have to sit there and take 45 minutes to do 26 steps in the morning and before you go to sleep at night. It's just a real quickie. But doing that regularly, every day, just as a habit, just like you brush your teeth. Just do that every day, and you will strengthen your ability to run D12 frequency hugely. Now, the second thing is daily use of the Man-Out Technique 1. That's the Akasha Songs, the magic words, okay, at least 2 different times in the daytime. And eventually you'll just memorize them so you don't have to go dig out your paper to see what they are. But just run them through, verbalize them, sing in the shower, do wherever you can go to run them through, because you're activating those frequencies in the template, in the body, every time you verbalize them. So if you want these activations to stick and you want to keep those doors open, for the frequency of your God self to flow through, you need to use the codes and the words and the vibrations that keep those doorways open. Right? Let's see. You'd also want to use those prior to any salutation or RRT work for people who are doing the RRTs and things. That will give you a much stronger RRT and a much greater protection in your own field in an RRT. Okay. Daily use of Mana Technique 2, which is the Akasha Mana Salutation. This is the one where after a while you get organized and you find your balance point with all this, the thing we did on the beach today. You can do it by yourself, but find a place one time a day where you can go and do this. It will you can do it for 3 minutes once you get organized, where you can get the words and the spin, and then the suriyas that we're going to cover before we go. The suriyas are easy. It's just, what do you do with your hands right now? Okay, where do you put them while you're running these currents? While you're singing certain things, what do you do? 3 easy postures, and I'll get to that. So you would do that, and you would either pick a solar one or a lunar one, daytime or nighttime, whichever you prefer. You would use of Technique 3, that's in this, which is restoring the Mi'aj field, once every 3 or 4 days. Now, these are techniques that were in the Kathara manual update as well. They're Veka code induction techniques. They're not that long and they're not that hard. Here's another one, daily use of Technique 4, restoring the Tryon field exercise, or exercise 1. There's 2 exercises in that particular one, but one of them takes longer, just the short one. These are little short things that if you do them regularly, you will get even more effect than if you do other long things once in a while. Okay? That was number 3 and number 4. Okay, there, number 3 was restoring the Mi'aj field, and number 4 was restoring the Tryon field. And they're really simple ones that use the other Veka codes. They use the high Vekas and they use the Akasha in very simple ways, and you have them in these books. The drawings of the codes are in there, so what you need is right in there. It's connected to that, but I don't think it's the exact one that you're referring to. All right, it might be. I'm not sure. There's been so many different versions and interrelated pieces of these. I'd have to see which one. Yeah, it's like which title was which. It's not that one, is it? Okay, it's not the one that follows the Q-zone salutation. It's a different one. It's in the new. It's in the update, right? Yeah. All right, but it's also in your book. The book you're getting tonight, so you don't have to go get it anyplace else. You know, we have it. All right, that one would be just the technique 3 once every 3 or 4 days, and daily to the restoring the trion field exercise, which is technique 4, and they're really fast. They're not like long ones. They're like as easy as number 5 is, where you stare at the thing with your eyes crossed and sing a few bars. I mean, that's not that hard to do, right? It really isn't. And these things, like I said, if you do these things on a regular basis, they're shorter, they're simpler, but you're doing them regularly. You're keeping the doors to those currents and those frequencies open regularly, rather than blowing them open once every 2 weeks when you decide to do a real long exercise, but you're not doing anything else in between. So you're better off taking the slow everyday approach than just once in a while blasting your fields open, because you'll blast them open for a little while, but if you're not doing the everyday maintenance, they'll start to close down again, the DNA will go out of activation again, your pillar will go down, and you'll be back to square one. This is the way to not go back to square one. It's the way to start the climb to where you can start to really make progress. Now, let's see. Okay, number 6 is daily use of the Manu Technique 5, which is the I look at that and I say, how was that pronounced? Ahaya code? I-A-H-A-I-A. I can't even say it. Ayahaya code. Ayahaya. Yeah, Ayahaya code. And you would use this before salutations or RRT work, but you'd also do that technique, which is a real simple technique. There's like 3 lines under the image of this symbol code that's in your books that you would do. And it's, again, just another very simple induction using the sound tones that go with it, which would be the sound tones from the other exercise, as far as running those 3, the magic words, those 3 sequences, or 4 sequences, I think there are. There's an opening and closing, and then the 3 sequences. You would use those tones with this particular symbol image, and you would do the optical pineal induction. So these are like, there's a bunch of exercises you need to do here, but you could do them in 10 minutes once you get, used to what they are. You could run it in less than 10 minutes. You could probably do it in 7 minutes to get all of those done, but on a daily basis. And on a daily basis, use the Song of Lyra, because every time you use that Maharada Kumbhaivakta song, you are temporarily triggering your Maharic Seal into activation. If you haven't done any Maharic Seal technique, that won't work. You need to use some of the Maharic Seal technique to get your template to begin activation. But once it starts activation, you can simply use that song. And you need to verbalize the sound tones so the whole body field gets them. They're on the inside but also on the outside. If your ears are hearing it, that's actually affecting more of your frequencies than if you're just hearing it inside of your head. So just put that song in there. Sing it in the shower once, I mean, you're actually reinforcing your pillar. Okay? Then it's recommended, you don't have to, but it's recommended with the Tangible Structure of the Soul audio tape program. That's the one that's been out for a while. Now, they're suggesting that if you use, that has 6 tapes in it. It says just use 1 tape, just 1 tape, every 3 to 4 months. Like, just use 1 as a weekly meditation. Pick whatever one you like, and just use 1 of the tapes, the exercises, not even the lecture part on the other side, just 1 of them. It will amplify the things that you're doing, and kind of use your gut feeling as far as which one should I use, because it may change. You may feel, okay, well, I'm using this for 2 weeks, and I felt right then, but now I really feel like I should go to this one. Trust that. What these do, they each very specifically help to fill in the frequencies on various different levels, and yourself knows better than anyone where you need them filled in. So if you feel guided to use one of the tapes and not the others, we're just suggesting don't get rid of those because we have other technologies. These technologies are still helpful. They will amplify everything you're doing here, and they help you to go like target shoot in areas that need more work. They target D5, D8. They're working on the Manet pillar, most of them, which is where most of the distortions are running from the D2 level down here, because they're all connected. Okay. Now, here's this one. Here we go. Now we're going off basic things that are in the book. It says, begin a physical exercise program. Oh, God, here we go. Right? Something that's geared toward increasing cardiovascular capacity. Because you're going to these activations stress the heart and the breathing system. They stress the whole system. Just little bits. You don't have to go and become a marathon jogger. Just something more than what you've been doing, whatever level that is, for you. You know what I mean? If you've been totally doing nothing for the last 20 years, a walk around the block once every 2 days would be increasing your cardiovascular capacity. All right? Just something to begin and increase to help your body itself work through these changes. Okay? And they're also saying to get into something like some kind of daily stretching exercise. Yoga is good, but you don't have to do yoga. Just simply, what I do all the time is, and I do it because I feel where the pain is, I can feel my legs getting really stiff. My legs get very, very stiff from running frequency sometimes when the Kundalini is activating, and my back starts to really, really hurt. And I will just literally stretch in ways that I need to, where I'm pulling on the stuff that's hurting, to let the energy run. Because when you're getting these things, when you have DNA activations, if there are areas that it's harder for the frequency to run through, it builds up and blocks up. And you'll get pain in those areas, and it'll feel yucky, and you'll feel lousy, and things will hurt. And if you just do simple little things, increase your cardiovascular, do stretching every day. You don't have to take an hour. Just do 5 minutes when you get out of bed, like touch your toes or, stretch your legs. These are really good when you do stuff like this at any level that you can, where you pull the legs up here, first kind of like this way, I don't know if you can see me over there, but kind of like the ballet stretches, and then out to the side if you can, to whatever degree you can do it. Because what you're building is energy is building up here, and it's going to build up here in the body, these lower parts of the body from the Kundalini. And when you begin to pull on those legs, you're getting the axiotonal lines in the legs to stretch a bit. So it will take some of that energy and run it down to your feet. The next place you'll find it getting stuck is around your ankles and in your feet, where your ankles will start to swell and your feet will get sore and those kind of things. And you can, literally, feet rubbing helps hugely. Like if you have somebody that loves you that'll rub your feet, consider yourself very, very lucky. Or you can learn to do a bit of reflexology on yourself. Just literally rub the areas. If the skin feels hard, if it feels like, the muscles are really hard under there and it's not hard from being athletically developed, you can tell the difference when it's like your body becomes engorged with energy, is what happens. And it blocks up and it makes everything hard and it can't move. And that becomes more and more painful if you don't clear it. Now, one of the ways to clear it is to do the stretching. The other one is, this is recommended, and when this came through, it's like we do this once in a while ourselves, but it was and that means you guys too, referring to us. It says, at least every 2 days, at least once every 2 days, take a morning or evening salt soda bath. Okay? It says table salt or bath salts. You can actually use table salt. You don't have to go buy expensive stuff. Mixed in equal parts with standard baking soda, like Arm & Hammer baking soda stuff, mixed into a full tub of warm bath water. Now, this is because this becomes progressively more important with DNA and Merkaba activation progression, as the salt-soda-water combination literally draws toxic residues from the miasmic clearings out of the body via the pores and the chakras. Miasmic toxins can lead to physical illness if they build up in the body. If a bath isn't available, if you happen to live in a place that has a shower, which is very hard to soak in salt in the shower, right? The next best thing is to soak your feet. And you did this for me last night because my ankles were all swelling and things. Okay. Yeah, it is best. It is best. But if you don't have the money to go out and buy the fancy kind of salt, and all you got in a pinch is the other, it's better than none. That's what they've said. Sea salt is good, and so is the stuff that's like they're importing from other places that's specifically meant for baths. Epsom salt. I don't get a feel. I don't like that stuff. No, there's something in that that's metallic or something. I get a metallic vibe on that doesn't feel right. Now, basically, I would rather use table salt with iodine in it than, use Epsom salts. There's something in there that reads very metallic that doesn't, I don't know why, because I don't know what their chemical composition is. Is it? Okay, because I'm just feeling a resonance of something metallic in there that's not good for this process. So it's simple. These are simple things you can do, but if you really, really, really do them, they'll make a difference. You will start to have those expansion periods in consciousness. You'll start to find them more often. You'll start to begin to remember your dreams more often. You might not know what they mean yet, but you'll still at least begin to remember that you had other experiences. You might find your out-of-body experiences increasing or starting if you haven't had them. If you do this consistently, little bits every day, you will progressively open the doors to your God self, your higher self. You'll open the doors of your body to let that part of you in. It's worth doing. And the last one, by the way, I want to finish that one with the salts. If you don't have a bathtub available, simply soak the feet in a warm soda, salt soda pail of water for 10 to 15 minutes. It takes a little longer when you're only using the feet. Like you could stay 5 minutes in the bathtub, And even that is good enough to pull a good portion of the toxins out. But if you're doing it just at the feet, because there's only a small contact area, so all of the body is not releasing it, it's all getting pulled down to the feet to come out. All right, you need it a little bit longer. So the toxins will literally come out the foot chakras. All right, they will be drawn down by the salt, and they will be brought out. And sometimes you can see the water, and it looks like, your feet were clean when you put them in. They weren't dirty, but the water is scummy looking. It's like, ew, that came out of my body? Yep. All right. And the last one of the 12 is work consciously on a daily basis to explore, integrate, and develop greater understanding of the Dance for Life 12 attitudes of mastery. Now, they were the things we started, to go through yesterday. We can talk more about them like later at the beach. I don't have to use time for that now. You have the list of them in here, in your packages. This is why I wanted to make sure, because I knew there was going to be stuff that, we could use another day to talk about, but you really didn't need somebody talking at you. If you can read it, you understand the things basic enough, you needed this book more than you needed my face in front of you for the 3 hours that we had to put the book together. So I hope you can get out of this book what you really wanted to get from this course. This book will be expanded, I'm sure, and upgraded at some point, but it's not too bad in a pinch. Let's see. Yes, crystals. I know. Let me take a sip. We'll do crystals. I would like to. Anyway, there are two basic things that I need to cover. I'll do the crystals last because that'll go into a few spaces of talking. The one thing I want to show you, because there's no drawing of it, because it would have taken me about 2 hours to get a decent drawing of what these look like in there, is the Suriyas. They're very, very simple, and one goes with each of the primal currents. One goes with the Ire, one with the Mana, one with the Mane. And they each have little names that are, they help you to remember them. And they're cute little names. I didn't make up the names. They came through that way. Okay? These are the old names. Can you help me here? For me to show these, can you do the talking while I do the showing them Suriyas? Please. Okay, just in case I need you to pass anything out, or hold the mic where I can, if I have to say anything about it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it, love. Okay. Now, since these are using just the upper body, you don't have to worry about what my bottom half is doing right now. The way we're going to use the Suriyas is they're basically 3 simple postures that pull energy in a certain way. And they're going to be used when we do the Mano Technique 2, which is the Akasha Salutation. There's indications in the text there where you would put each of the Suriyas once you integrate them into that. You don't have to do those in the salutations yet. What we would suggest first is learn to do the salutations with the tones, right, in technique number 2, and don't worry about integrating the Suriyas yet. And then when you work with the Suriyas, simply do them while you're doing the tones. When you're not doing the whole thing, when you're just running technique 1, where you're just using the tones, use the tones and the Suriyas together. I haven't even tried this yet. All right, this stuff literally just came through today, and I haven't had a chance to say, okay, what are those tones again, and do the postures. Excuse me. But it's very simple combining anyway, as far as you would do the tones for each of them on that, and the Mano Technique 1, where the sequence that is on there, you would use that toning sequence, and you could do it several times. It's not going to hurt. You don't have to just do it once. You could do it several times, but you would use and integrate the 3 postures where where they're indicated as far as what they're connected to. I'll show you what the postures are and which of the 3 primal consciousness currents that they go with. They're very, very simple. But it's interesting, once you get them all put together, where you get to the point where you do the tones and the Suriyas with the spinning, it becomes a bit more dynamic. And there are 12 Suriyas altogether. We're going to be getting 3 of them in each of the 4 aspects of the Dance 4 classes. So right now we only have the first 3. Some of the others use the legs, which how we're going to spin and do something else with their legs at the same time, I don't know unless we're levitating, but you never know. But right now they're very simple. The first one is called the rising moon. All right, the rising moon goes with the Ire current. So when you're doing, when you're using the sound tone that goes with the sound tone sequence, the song that goes with the Ire current, it is very simple. If you're just standing there and you're toning, it would simply be the rising moon. Now notice the posture that I started with in the first place. Okay? I'm not, whoops, sorry. I'm not starting like this. Right? Yeah, see, you could do a rising moon like this. You're not going to get the same energy. All right? The beginning posture for any of this stuff, your main vertical current that runs up and down your spine is very important to how you're running frequency. There is a posture that every one of us has. It's like a place of optimum balance of the kundalinis, where the shoulders are back a bit, but it's not that military stance where you're like this. It's not that. There's a place in between where the shoulders are back a bit because that expands the lungs, so you can breathe better, so you can run energy better. Where there's a way of like pulling yourself up as if you were on a string, if somebody's pulling you on a string just a little bit, where you can feel the lift in your carriage. You can learn to carry this. I mean, after a while, you learn to actually carry this, and you'll find yourself using it a lot. It will help all sorts of things, like your axiotonal lines will start to expand and run more frequency on a regular basis if you pay a bit of attention to your posture. Posture is very important when it comes to how the energy is running. If you sit in ways that block certain currents, you're literally, like I tend to sit on my legs all the time. I sit in the lotus position even when I'm on chairs, and it tends to block my knees, so of course I get swelling and everything down below them, that kind of thing. When we're getting into using the Sariyas, these are the movements that are going to take those wave fields that we're making with the tones and form them and shape them in very specific ways. Now, if we're doing them from an awkward position to start, we're going to get awkward shaped waves. If you're trying to create a wave that's, say, shaped like a circle, and you're using a certain Sariya to do it, but you're using it with a bad posture, you may get a flat-sided egg instead of a circle, because the energy was running different than it would be if you were running it vertically, which means your Merkaba is in a balanced position and you're actually holding the currents straight to begin with. So you don't have to be rigid about it. Comfortable is important, but if you're used to kind of, walking around, a lot of people, I do this a lot of time. If I'm tired especially, I kind of, walk around and kind of droop, It's worth paying attention to the posture and to the breathing. Where before you even start to sing an ariya, before you start to employ an ariya or a Sariya, get your lungs moving again. All right, just like literally do a few inhale and exhale breaths. Go inhale and hold it at the top until you feel like you're going to turn purple, but not where you're straining. Then exhale it, but exhale more than you used to, because usually we have a bit of air still trapped down in the bottom of the lungs because we don't fully exhale. So we have stale air stuck down there. So you want to and feel the muscles of the diaphragm going and pushing on it a bit, where you get the circuits cleared. You might start feeling heat rushes, even just doing that kind of breathing, where something's happening because you're getting more oxygen into the body and you're getting rid of more of the carbon dioxide and byproducts and things that aren't supposed to be in there anymore. So you start in a good space to begin with before you go into the exercises. Now the postures are painfully simple. They're so simple they're silly until you start trying to employ them while you're doing spinning and all sorts of other things, and then you realize that there's going to be at some point probably 12 sets of tones, each with its own posture, that each has to do with a different spin rate of the Merkaba. So this is the beginning of learning how to ever get to that point. Oh, there's one thing that I do want to mention. Please remind me, with crystals, I know crystals, but there's the spin rates of the Merkaba that we're going to try to form. Now, usually the spin rates are 33 1/3 over electrical, over 11 2/3 magnetic. There's some interesting numbers, and the bottom one is 911 2/3, and the top one is like 2730 something. I have to look it up. It's 2730 something. That's the Mahanta Merkaba spin. So this is what we're going to be building. It's a lot faster than the one that, the smaller ones. Anyway, the Sariyas are simple. You would start with the Ariya, which is the song that you're singing. What? Okay. I'm just afraid I'm going to whack you. Because I got to put my arms up. Somehow I've got to do this. Okay. I think I'll just yell this one because I'm gonna keep getting tied up in that with this one. At least this one I will, because I have to move the arms up. You simply start the toning. It would be a good idea to do like one, run through the tones once or twice first. Run through the tones so you get that going and you get used to that. And if you have to do these, if you want to do them together, tape the page with the tones up on the wall so you can face the wall so you don't have to worry about using your hands to hold the paper to try to remember the tones. So just stick it on the wall or on a bulletin board or something and do the posture before it. All right? The first one is simple. The rising moon goes with the ire sequence. It is simply from this position, in the relaxed position, you would, this is right. I'm going to whack you. I'm going to whack the mic. All right. Because I have to do the arm span. All right. Now, when you do this, yeah, I'll be right back for a minute.
Hey, why don't we all do this? Why do we all stand?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Watch your
Everybody wants to get them going on the street.
Watch first.
All right. So watch once. Anybody wants to do it, can do it. Okay, how's that? The first one, you're in that comfortable space, but you do have the shoulders back a little bit. And you don't have to have feet close together, but just a little bit apart, like a foot's width apart. Get your basic balance. And it's very, very simple. It's just like the rising moon. But you're feeling expansion. Look at how I'm stretching my arms out. You see how they look like they're getting longer and longer? They feel like they're getting longer. And you bring it up, palms together, and then turn the palms. And you would tone while you're doing that. You would tone the line. Now, you would hold that position. If you were doing it in a round or something, if you're doing it in a salutation, you would be doing your, this would be with your counterclockwise spin. Yes, counterclockwise, that way. Okay, just click for a minute. You would be swinging your tones and spinning in that position. And you could also, after a while, you could get where you modulate it, where you bring it down again and bring it up again. And you bring the arms down again, bring them, whoops, you're right, and it's a flower, bring it up again. Where it becomes like a dance. You're almost like you're in ballet class. You know, you don't have to go buy stretchies in the teacher. You know, those especially for the guys. So, simply, it's the bringing the arms up, palms together first, and then to the side. And you can just tone that way, but try to feel the stretch. And through here, through the lungs, this side, and it's almost pretend you have wings when you're bringing this up. Instead of just, right, you know how you do jumping jacks, you just going, not like that. Pretend you're a bird getting ready to soar. And there's a shoulder thing that happens, right? There's a shoulder thing where you can feel a roll in the shoulder joints, where you bring it up, it expands, it rolls back. There's a weird little roll back, almost as if your wings are getting ready to come up. Now, you're not going to go all the way back. You're just going to go to the side, but those shoulders are going to roll a little bit to the front when you're doing it. Actually, start with the palms that way, and then, yeah, you bring them up together, and then turn. Try to feel it down through here. We won't even try yet to get into where you breathe what. Because there's all sorts of different breaths you use with these for different effects. There's panting breaths, really short and fast. There's really long breaths, there's really long holding breaths. They all do something different with that sound form. First, we're going to learn to bring that sound form into shape. When you do this, you should feel a pull here, right here, in the area right where you have your rib cage comes down, right in the solar plexus area. That means you're making enough of a stretch where you're actually pulling turns. You're pulling the shape of the pillar that you've generated around you, of the sound forms that you've generated around you. Very simple. Just bring your hands over your head. You know? So, bring it up. Rising moon. Okay? Rising moon. Now, in the usual sequence, you would go from that, which would be with the inhale. As you were doing it, that would be the inhale. You would actually be going... Let's see about 4 days to do this all together. I haven't tried it yet. Then you would know the next posture, and you would, when you went into it, you would exhale into the next posture. The next posture that usually you would use in the sequence that, is following the tones as they are on the page, would be, we call it the sleeping flower. Okay. Actually, this is the sequence you would use. Yeah, you do the inhale, then you do the embedding. The inhale embeds it, then you do the pause to hold it. Yep, this is the sleeping flower goes with the man-out. M-A-N-U, man, of course. The sleeping flower is, you're coming down out of this position, and you're literally going to fold up like a little flower going to sleep. And this is challenging when you're going to tone. You're going to act like you're going to use the exhale breath to tone the man-out sequence. But you're going to go from here, and it's kind of just like a roll, where you turn the palms back together, and face them out, and then head, shoulders, all kind of moves together. Elbows spread out a bit. And from this position, you would make the sounds, and you would tone for a bit, the man-out sequence there. And from there, you would move into the Manet sequence, which is the projection sequence. And that sequence is called flowing waters. So you would come from here. The head would start to come up. The hands would go down in front of the heart chakra. And palms out. I hope this is on tape because it's coming through very clear now. I hope I remember. And then you would begin expanding the chest. Pushing the arms out, palms out. And then pushing the palms out. And after a while, you would get the flow effect. 3 very simple postures. You can use these like you use Tai Chi. You're doing the same thing, but it's at different levels. All right? Those, now imagine you're doing these, right, combined with breathing, toning, and spinning. This is what eventually this builds up to. But start with just practicing the hand gestures. I'm going to try to do these on, like, it's like, I can see by the time I go home, I say, what did I do with my palms in that one? Because I felt it come through. It's like the man I was with me, it's like, this is how you make this movement. This is the first time I've actually made movements too. So thank goodness it's being taped. What I'll try to do is get some kind of little tape. We'll try to get some kind of little tape out that really shows them and explains what we just explained here. Just something little, so you can do them. Because it is important how you're moving parts.
Again,
I hope so. If it came through first time really well, I can try. Yes, I will try.
This time. Go on.
Okay. I don't want to whack you, though. Okay. All right. Now, I'm trying to remember what direction were my palms starting in and what direction did they end up in. There's some of this stuff that you'll probably go through as you first try to, figure out what was that. All right. All right. We're going to do the ear A one. You'd be toning the ear A, and eventually, when you get really good at it, you'd be toning this one on the inhale breath. You'd be toning on the inhale breath. But right now, if you find you try to do that, you use so much air up that it's like you can't get a whole sentence said backwards, like inhaled that way. So right now, just do the toning on the on the exhale and use the gesture with the inhale. So you'd like tone right before, and once you got into position, it'd be the places where you did the tone. But while you're making the move is when you would actually be doing the inhale. You're pulling the movement in with you. So you do the tone right before, then do the inhale and the move, and you can do the tone again once it was there. I did that really fast. I didn't even pay attention. I hope I did it right. Yeah, palms facing legs, then, and there's that weird little shoulder roll that comes out. It's supposed to be this way. This. And then that little pull in the abdomen area, and then that. And that one is the rising moon that would go into the sleeping flower. Now that one came through very clear, and I have to see if I can remember how to do that. The palms. Yeah, the head and the shoulders and the palms roll. No, the palms weren't they closed? Yeah, I thought so. Okay. They're back together. Then we start.
palms rotate to the back, don't they?
They rolled down. At some point they did. It came through perfect the first time I did it. That was before my brain got in the way. Yeah. Okay, palms together. Oh, yeah, there was a backwards in there. Yeah. Yeah. And then, yeah, they went toward the head, and then the elbows started to come down along with the shoulder roll, and the elbows started to spread out in the sleeping flower, and it ended up somewhere about here. Something like that. Okay. Okay. And then from there, it goes into the flowing water ones, where the movement continues down. And I believe there was how do we do that? We came across here, across the heart chakra, Now what did we do?
They turned around at the chest.
They turned around. It, like,
Face the other way.
you see what I mean? It came through first, real clear, but now I'm lost again. All right. See, I told you we're learning it together. You'll be better at it than me. Okay, we did this. Now, something this way. Did they come out this way? Elbows first? I have to watch the tape to literally see how it came through the first time because I was having help that time. Okay? And then, yeah, and then there was a, what did the palms do? There was something up and then down. There was a flipping with the hands, yeah. See, these are, you can play with these with what we've got here. I'll get these fine-tuned because what I'll do is I'll have Ma'a work with me. You can ask him to work with you too, but I'll have Ma'a work with me and say, okay, now what exactly did we do there? And we'll get it on film so you can watch it and so we can narrate it. When I just did it the first time, it literally was like I could feel the presence of the man owl or whatever with me, and it knew where to move them. The movement knew how to take itself. And then when I got my brain in the way, it's like, what exactly did we do? You know, it's like the body knew how to do it, but once the mind got engaged, it forgot. So we'll fine-tune these and get them in a form that you can work with them. But meanwhile, even if you're not, like the hands are in the wrong position at that time, it's not going to totally change the waveform. Okay, it's 8:30, okay. That means we got to go. Oh, well, we got to do crystals.